Welcome back to the food truck where we say that God is doing something special for us on the Me and You. And with that special thing, there are times that we must notice what new beginning we need to discover that God has placed in our lives. This new beginning is a beginning that is new to us, but it has been placed in our lives by God ever since the beginning of time. And to discover our new beginning, we discover that we have value to the beginning that God is directing us to. I stressed this last week that most of the time we don't attempt for this new beginning due to the fact we don't feel we have value for the purpose that God has for us. And I'm going to say it again, like I stated it last week, that is, you have value for the purpose that God has for you, or still have value. And one way that I know that this is a fact, you are still here. You see, God woke you up this morning, and this proves that since He woke you up, He has a purpose for you in your life. So in this part 2 in this series of A New Beginning, let's look at what usually happens when a person has value and on their way to discover the new beginning. The character we're going to be looking at is young Samuel. Now it's important that we know about young Samuel, and this was one of the characters that I learned in Bible Study 101. And some of us know this character by being the first prophet of Israel. We know him from being the one that anointed two, not one, greatest kings of Israel. King Saul, who was the first king, and you guessed it, King David. But before all this happened, young Samuel was given to the church under the guidance of Eli. You see, his mother, who was barren, prays to God for a male child. And when she goes to God, God hears her heart just pouring out to Him. God answers her prayer through a male child. By God giving her a child, she turns back around and gives the child back to God by giving him to the church. Now, being under Eli, Samuel is starting a new beginning, a beginning that he has never seen or never felt before. But with this new beginning about to be presented, hear and listen to one thing that Samuel wrestles with, just like everyone wrestles with when a new beginning comes from God. And it comes from 1 Samuel chapter 3, and I'll be starting at verse number 3. Have you ever had that notion that God was leading you? A direction that you don't know all the turns and curves that you will be taking? But one thing that you do know is that this journey is being led by God. You read your Bible, you pray, you even fast. And through all of this, it's quite evident that this is the right direction. Even if there is a little uncertainty, you still have that belief that this new beginning will be the right move. And it's recorded in the Bible that Samuel one night is lying down and hears a voice. After hearing the voice, he goes to Eli saying, "Here I am." Eli shares with Samuel that he didn't call him again and again. A total of 4 times, Eli hears the voice of God. 3 times, Samuel goes to Eli's room and says, "Here I am." And 3 times, Eli informs Samuel that he did not call him. But there's a problem in the phrase that Eli kept telling Samuel to do. After approaching Eli the first 3 times, Samuel received the same command from Eli that most of us have either felt or heard from others. And that phrase is, "Go lay down." Don't miss it. When you have or about to start your new beginning, there will be others that will know you, that would tell you to give up and just lie down. The beginning that God is directing you is the direction that most people in our lives will not understand. And since they don't understand at the time, they will show you and tell you that you need to just give it up in the direction that you're going in. You see, when I was in middle school, I tried out for the basketball team, and you know what? I didn't make it. Can you believe it? They didn't pick up your boy. So since I didn't make the team, I was like, what's next? What's next? Because if I didn't play sports then, you weren't in the popular crowd. That's what I thought. So the very next day, Mr. McCoy, who was the band teacher at the school, asked, did anyone wanted to join the band? I wasn't going to do that. I didn't feel that. But something was pulling me in that direction. So I decided to join the band, and I had this idea that I was going to play the trumpet. But the first day I entered the band thinking I was going to play the trumpet, I left the same band class playing the tuba. People saw what I was going to be playing and made statements like, now that is a bad move. Some people had questions like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? I heard this time after time after time that I needed to just lay it down. Don't play the tuba. But I'm here to share with you today that New Beginning provided me an opportunity to take a tour to Europe in an elite band. It even made an opportunity for me to become ranked number 3 tuba player in high school as a freshman. It allowed me to go to college on scholarship and provided a way for me to be able to play any brass instrument. Don't lie down to anything that tries to redirect you from the new beginning God is showing you. So why do we usually lie down and not attempt the way that God is directing us? The first point I want to raise why we lie down is because of fear to fail. We don't want to fail, attempting what is new. The Bible shares that we should not be afraid with the Lord being with us. It's recorded 365 times. That means you have don't be afraid at least one time a day. I look at fear as an acronym when being with the Lord as false evidence about reality. Let me say that again. False evidence about reality. You see, you don't need to be in fear to fail to make people say to you to lie down when God is pointing you in your new beginning. The second point that I want to raise is why we lie down, because we look at snapshots from others. I know this is going to be hard. We allow at times people who display their life on social media platforms to place in our subconscious part of our minds to lie down. We see based off of their snapshots of life to dictate if we should even head in that direction that God is pointing us in. This new beginning will lead us in a direction that is totally the opposite of what we see every day on someone's snapshot. They got it together, don't they? When you see them on their social media platforms, they got it together. They got the house that you want to live in. But here it is, and that is that, it takes more than one attempt to take the right pics on a social media platform. You see, how many times did it take that pic to get the right one, and how many filters did they use to get the right color that will grab our attention? And with all that being said, We don't need to lie down from the direction that God is pointing us in towards our new beginning based off of a snapshot of someone's life. The last point that I want to raise, while we just lie down, not going into the new beginning that God is directing us in, it's because we need to recognize our location for the direction. Let me say that again. We need to recognize our location for our direction. You see, Samuel, when hearing the voice, he goes and says to Eli, "Here I am." Did you catch it? Let me say it again. Samuel, hearing a voice, leaves where he's at and goes to Eli's room and says, "Here I am." Did you get it? Well, my mama says 3 times a charm. Let me try it again. Samuel is laying down close to the ark of God, hears the voice of God, leaves where he's at, and goes to Eli's room and says, "Here I am." You see, my brothers and sisters, Samuel was lying down near the ark of God. The ark of God in the Bible was a sign for the presence of God. So anytime that the children of Israel had the ark of God, it meant that the presence of God was with them. If you add on just the voice of God, meant that Samuel was in the right location for the direction he needed to go. Oh, help me somebody. You see, when I'm usually traveling to a place that I've never been before, I make sure that I have my GPS device with me. Now, for me to make it to the destination that I need to go to, one thing that my GPS needs from me is for me to share my location. And if it never receives where I am located, it can't direct me and it can't give me the answer to the destination that I never been before. The place where you are at, your location is exactly where you need to be. For since you are at the right location, you shall receive the direction to your new beginning. Don't lay down because you're looking at the snapshots of others. Don't lay down because you have the fear to fail. And don't lay down because you fail to recognize your location to your direction. May the Lord bless you until we meet again. This is Reverend Gordon here on the Food Truck, where we say God is doing something special for us on the Me and You. See you next week.